Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the second week of November 2024. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any newspaper in America and beyond. Voice actor Elwood Edwards died November 5, 2024 in New Bern, North Carolina. He died of complications from a stroke at the age of 74. He was the voice of iconic AOL messages from the early World Wide Web. You've got mail, welcome, files done, and goodbye. Edwards is being remembered for his unmistakable voice. He recorded the messages on a cassette deck in his living room. Businesswoman Judy Love died November 5, 2024 in Oklahoma City at the age of 87. She and her late husband, Tom Love, founded the gas station and convenience store brand Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores. Love is being remembered for her generous philanthropy in her home state of Oklahoma. Actor Tony Todd died November 6, 2024 at his home in Marina del Rey, California. He died after a long illness at the age of 69. He was a horror movie legend as the star of the Candyman franchise, and he also had notable roles in the Final Destination series, The Crow, and other horror films. Todd is also being remembered for his roles in movies and TV shows like Platoon, The Flash, and several Star Trek series. Actress June Spencer died November 8, 2024 at the age of 105. She played Peggy Woolley on the BBC Radio 4 soap opera The Archers for more than 70 years. Spencer is being remembered as the last surviving original cast member of the popular drama. Football player Don Bosseler died November 6, 2024 in Atlanta at the age of 88. He was an All-American at the University of Miami in the 1950s, and he was later inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Bosseler is also being remembered for his career as a fullback with the Washington Redskins. Journalist Madeleine Riffaud died November 6, 2024 in Paris at the age of 100. She joined the French resistance as a teenager during World War II, fighting for Paris's freedom and refusing to reveal the secrets of the resistance even when she was captured and tortured by Nazis. Riffaud is also being remembered as a poet and the author of several books about her life and times. Race car driver Bobby Allison died November 9, 2024 in Mooresville, North Carolina at the age of 86. He was a NASCAR legend known for his 85 NASCAR Cup victories and 3 Daytona 500 wins, which helped elevate him to become NASCAR's 4th biggest winner of all time. Allison is also being remembered as part of a family of NASCAR greats. He was the brother of Donnie Allison and the father of Clifford and Davey Allison. Hairstylist Trevor Sorbie died November 8, 2024 at his home in Fareham, England. He died after fighting cancer at the age of 75. He was a celebrity stylist best known for creating the wedge haircut made famous by figure skater Dorothy Hamill. Sorbie is also being remembered as the founder of My New Hair, an organization that creates high-quality wigs for those who have lost their hair from cancer treatments or other medical causes. Singer and songwriter Ella Jenkins died November 9, 2024 in Chicago at the age of 100. She was called the First Lady of Children's Music, known for dozens of albums of music for young people over a decades-long career. Jenkins is being remembered both for the songs she wrote for children and for introducing them to the folk songs of other cultures. Dancer and choreographer Judith Jamison died November 9, 2024 in New York City. She died after a brief illness at the age of 81. She was the longtime leader of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, handpicked by Ailey himself to be his successor. Jamison is being remembered for such dance pieces as Cry, written for her by Ailey, and her own visionary works like Time Out and Divining. Musician Lou Donaldson died November 9, 2024, in Daytona Beach, Florida, at the age of 98. He was a jazz saxophonist best known for his 1950s bop recordings for Blue Note Records. He is also being remembered for his blues and soul jazz recordings from the 1960s and beyond. Donaldson was a U.S. Navy veteran of World War II. Football coach John Robinson died November 11, 2024, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He died of complications from pneumonia at the age of 89. He was head coach of the Los Angeles Rams in the 1980s and 90s, leading the team to 6 playoffs appearances in 7 seasons. Robinson is also being remembered as the head coach of the University of Southern California football team both before and after his years with the Rams. A college football Hall of Famer, he led the Trojans to 4 Rose Bowl wins. Author and illustrator Bruce Degen died November 7, 2024, at his home in Newtown, Connecticut. He died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 79. He was best known as the illustrator of the beloved children's book series The Magic School Bus, putting pictures to author Joanna Cole's words to help bring Ms. Frizzle and her classroom to life. Degen is also being remembered for the books he wrote and illustrated himself, including Jamberry, Daddy is a Doodlebug, and I Gotta Draw. Author Dorothy Allison died November 5, 2024, at her home in Guerneville, California. She died of cancer at the age of 75. She was best known for her 1992 novel Bastard Out of Carolina, a semi-autobiographical story that has been widely praised and was a National Book Award finalist. Allison is also being remembered for such works as her short story collection Trash, her essay collection Skin, and her novel Cave Dweller, all of which won awards. Musician and songwriter Linda LaFlamme died October 23, 2024, in Harrison, Virginia. She died of vascular dementia at the age of 85. She and her husband, the late David LaFlamme, co-founded the band It's a Beautiful Day, known for their 1969 psychedelic classic White Bird. LaFlamme is being remembered for co-writing the beloved song and for playing keyboards in the band. Musician Roy Haynes died November 12, 2024, on Long Island in New York. He died after a brief illness at the age of 99. He was a Grammy Award-winning jazz drummer, known as Snap Crackle for his tight, focused approach to percussion. Haynes is being remembered for playing with jazz greats like Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane, Dave Brubeck, and many others. Actor Song Jae-lim died November 12, 2024, in Seoul, Korea, at the age of 39. He was a star of South Korean dramas like Moon Embracing the Sun and 2 Weeks. Song is also being remembered for appearing in the Korean reality show We Got Married. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Football coach Gerry Faust died November 11, 2024, at the age of 89. He was the head coach at Notre Dame in the 1980s, later coaching at the University of Akron. Faust is also being remembered as a high school football Hall of Famer for his many successful years as head coach at Cincinnati's Moeller High School. Artist Frank Auerbach died November 11, 2024, in London at the age of 93. He was one of the most eminent painters of his time, known for his portraits and his studies of the neighborhood around his London studio. Auerbach is being remembered for the thickly layered textures of his paintings. Actor Timothy West died November 12, 2024, in London at the age of 90. He was known for his performances on the British stage and on such TV shows as Coronation Street, EastEnders, and Not Going Out. West is also being remembered for his work with his wife, Prunella Scales, including the documentary series Great Canal Journeys. Lawyer Theodore B. Olson died November 13, 2024, at a hospital in Fairfax, Virginia. He died of a stroke at the age of 84. A prominent conservative, he served as legal counsel to former President Ronald Reagan and Solicitor General under former President George W. Bush, and he represented Bush in the Supreme Court case deciding the 2000 election. Olson is also being remembered for his outspoken support for same-sex marriage, including his work to overturn a gay marriage ban in California. Model Georgina Cooper died in November 2024 while vacationing on the Greek island of Kos. She died of a blood-brain hemorrhage after fighting long COVID at the age of 46. She was a British supermodel who rose to fame in the 90s, known for her gap-toothed smile. Cooper is being remembered as one of the faces of the Cool Britannia era in the 90s. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 18 years ago this week, singer and songwriter Gerald Levert died at the age of 40. As a solo artist and in the band Levert, he had R&B hits like Casanova and Baby Hold On To Me. 20 years ago this week, author Stieg Larsson died at the age of 50. He was known for the posthumously published Millennium Trilogy, including The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. 25 years ago this week, actress and singer Mabel King died at the age of 66. She starred on TV in Good Times and on Broadway and the big screen in The Wiz. 30 years ago this week, sprinter Wilma Rudolph died at the age of 54. She overcame childhood polio and won 3 gold medals at the 1960 Summer Olympics. 32 years ago this week, actor and athlete Chuck Connors died at the age of 71. He played in the NBA and in Major League Baseball before becoming famous as the star of TV's The Rifleman. 34 years ago this week, actress Eve Arden died at the age of 82. Her many TV and movie performances over a 6-decade career included the starring role in TV's Our Miss Brooks and the school principal in Grease and its sequel. Scientist Carl Sagan was born 90 years ago this week. He died in December 1996 at the age of 62. He was a leader in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and he brought science to the masses on his TV show Cosmos and in several books. Filmmaker and actor Gary Marshall was born 90 years ago this week. He died in July 2016 at the age of 81. He created the sitcom Happy Days and directed such movies as Pretty Woman and The Princess Diaries. Actor Ed Asner was born 95 years ago this week. He died in August 2021 at the age of 91. He won 5 Emmy Awards for portraying Lou Grant on The Mary Tyler Moore Show and its spin-off Lou Grant. Actress and inventor Hedy Lamarr was born 110 years ago this week. She died in January 2000 at the age of 85. She starred in movies like Boomtown and Samson and Delilah, and she invented a radio technology that helped pave the way for the development of Wi-Fi. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in New Jersey have been lowered to honor the memory of General Assembly Speaker Chuck Hytian. Flags in Wisconsin have been lowered to honor the memory of Milwaukee Alderman and former state representative Jonathan Brostoff. Flags in Alabama have been lowered to honor the memory of former state senator Jimmy Hawley. Flags in New York have been lowered to honor the memory of New York State Thruway Authority employee Stephen C. Ebling. Flags in Washington have been lowered to honor the memory of former Governor Daniel Evans. Flags in Colorado have been lowered to honor the memory of Golden police officer Evan Dunn. Flags in Wyoming have been lowered to honor the memory of former state representative Robert Tanner. Flags in Illinois have been lowered to honor the memory of Chicago police officer Enrique Martinez, who died in the line of duty. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. You can also follow Legacy.com on Facebook and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.